Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Black AF1 pod. It's me, as always, Reina, and Roy's lazy and still on vacation in Spain. So with me, I have a very special guest, one of my favorite people ever. It's Nyasha from Quick Stop F1. Hello, Nyasha.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much.
I am very excited to have Nyasha here today. Like, I was gonna have him last week, but Roy made the time. But so yeah, I'm very happy about it. Nyasha, for the very probably maybe one person who doesn't know you and Quick Stop, do you want to briefly tell us
Yeah,
who
so
you are? Yeah.
my name is Nyasha. I run the Quickstop F1 platform, I guess. We do a lot of, we're a podcast, I guess, first and foremost, an F1 podcast, but also we make content and videos and stuff about F1. And yeah, it's going all right. It's going quite well. And but I'm super gassed to be on this show. I'm a fan. I'm a fan and a listener. So this is a big moment for me.
Thank you very much. I'm blushing. And by content, Nyasha means the best fan cams in existence. I am obsessed with the Maya Angelou one. I cry every single time I watch it.
Oh man, it's that's a special one.
And the Lion King one.
I think that's my favorite. I'm not gonna
When
lie.
Lewis came, but yes, I posted it on my Instagram like main feed as well. Like I was absolutely obsessed.
Yeah.
To be honest, Nyasha and his co-host Candy were kind of Roy and I's inspiration to start a podcast because we kind of thought if they could do it, we could do
If
it
those
too.
bozos can do it, then anyone can do it.
It was, if another beautiful Black people can do it, then we can also do it as beautiful Black people. How did you get into F1, Nyasha? Because F1 is very wide, especially like back then.
Yeah. So when I was a kid growing up, I used to just watch a lot of sport. My dad isn't really into sport, and my mum's not into sport. But I was always like, I used to just love playing outside. Whatever sport I could play, I'd play it. And I used to just spend time in front of the TV just watching sport. And one day when I was a kid, I put the TV on and it was motor racing, and I would just remember just being absolutely hooked on it. And my mum saw that I used to get hooked on it. She used to buy me a little punnet of strawberries every race day, and I'd just sit there in front of the TV munching strawberries, watching F1. And yeah, man, that's just how I got into it. And then it's just basically gone from there. I've always kind of watched it, and then I think probably around 2018, 2017, 2018, maybe is probably when I really started to get like geeky with it and like really following like all the news and like going on live trackers and like all of this kind of stuff. That was probably and getting into like the technical side of things. Yeah, from there, and then obviously starting the podcast last March. It's crazy. It's not even been that long, but it's such a big part of my life now.
Yeah, honestly, it's amazing. By the way, if I say so myself, what you guys have done in such a short time. Obviously, it's only been just over a year, and I've been following you guys on the Twitter and the podcast since like pretty much, I guess, a year now. Yeah. I guess May-ish is when I joined F1 Twitter and I found you guys. And to say I was shocked to find like Black people creating content, because I know there are Black people who like watch F1, but like to make a space for yourselves and like have to, like, it's pretty much a safe space for other people, because sometimes it kind of feels like everybody is against us. I know it's not always the case, but it does feel that way a lot of the times.
It does.
To have a space where like you go and in the comments you find your fellow people as well, who like in the retweets you're like, oh my god, this person also. And I found a lot of like the people I love from like South African stuff via like just the people you retweet on your podcast. I was like, oh my god, okay, Black people.
Look,
so like
it's really cool. It's like I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't even get on F1 Twitter till I started the podcast, and I didn't even realize like it was such a big thing. And you know, I spent years watching this sport on my own. And I think a lot of us spent a long time watching this sport on our own and thinking, God, like this sport is so white, hardly any black people watch it or listen to it. But actually, there's such a massive community of us. That's the one thing that I really discovered. And black women as well. I think, I follow Arsenal, I follow football, so I kind of see like football Twitter and how that is, but the prominence of women on F1 Twitter, but black women, and just how incredible they all are in their own ways, whether that's making content, whether that's just like the posts that they do, whether it's like adding to the conversations and written pieces. It's such an incredible community, and I'm just really proud to be able to contribute to that and to be able to leave our own mark on that in a sense. And
Yes.
And if it inspires people to, like yourselves, to create your own platforms, that's great. The more of us, the better. Like what? It's definitely not about.
That's what I think that's very key. Like as long as we're all opening doors for each other, I feel like, and just supporting each other through it all, because I just think like you as well, like I watch a shit ton of sports, and in no sport have I found this many black women as a community than in F1. Like I watch tennis, football, like golf even, like, and this, to be honest, F1 is the most annoying, but also the community, like the people I found there.
Oh mate, look, imagine going through Abu Dhabi without this community. Like
I would have died. Yeah, Abu Dhabi, to be honest, is where I did find a lot of people, because before Abu Dhabi, I was very much okay to like just kind of mingle through all the spaces and just like have vibes. I wasn't taking anything seriously. Exactly. Like I had friends like across, but like Abu Dhabi was where I realized I was like, yo, these are my people. Like these are my people. And yeah, it was pretty much amazing. Sure. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's get into the race. Okay. I don't think you've released your episode yet.
We've actually not even recorded. So you're getting, this is like the first time I'm going to be able to talk about it.
Because I didn't want to repeat anything you had already. Okay then.
No.
Firstly, we're going to do just the race for you in 3 words.
Crock of shit. It's like really.
Tracks gotta go. Like tracks gotta go is mine. Like it's fine. We swear on our podcast.
Okay, I saw it. I was like, oh,
we swear a lot. Mine's tracks gotta go. Like I just feel like, just as overall, before even getting into performances or anything, like I applaud the commentators, because they did a good job of making it seem like we were always on the precipice of something happening.
Yeah, they did. Look, especially after the red flag, and the track was dry, and it was like, whatever order those cars are going out in, that is the order that they're finishing. and
they were trying their best. They were getting so excited, and I watched F2 as well this weekend. Yeah. And there were barely any overtakes in F2. And that's when I knew, I was like, okay, this is going to be an awful race. Yeah. Because F2 usually will I find a way. Yeah. But I swear these commentators, they were like, oh my God, yeah. They were like, oh my God, this race, we're not even halfway through and it's had everything. I was like, what has it had? What exactly has it had? And then like after, obviously, I think it was was there a second red flag? And then they were like, oh my God, you don't know any of the top 4 could win this now. They're so close. I'm like, track do you like? They're acting like this is our first. I think maybe it's for first time watchers.
I think it is, and you know what helped them was the fact that the Ferraris and Red Bulls were on different tires, so that created this sense of jeopardy where maybe the tires are going to go off, and it's just like
acting like we didn't watch 2019 Monaco. I'm like,
right, like I've seen Lewis go around on
what 60 laps on the medium tires.
Oh my God, I think he's going to be okay
in hotter conditions as well. Yeah. Like Ricardo had like 1/4 a car in 2018 and still won the race, and we're still suffering with that picture from the swimming pool till today. Like
they're going to rinse that.
Act like they were so like they at least now they have Perez with a new photo, but like they were very much like trying so hard to like, I don't know if like obviously someone's paying them, because there was literally no jeopardy in that race.
Like the good thing, I mean, look, I guess a good place to go if we're talking about the track, we had the opportunity to go racing a lot earlier than we did, but whatever madness they were doing at the beginning.
Literally, the next thing I was about to ask you was literally on here it says pre-race shenanigans. Because why did we not start on time?
Look, bruv, I understand safety, yeah, but these men are being mollycoddled. Like, start the race. If we need to stop it, then we'll stop it. But
We'll stop it.
Just start the race. All of this, let's wait and let's see. And we wasted an hour. And then we ended up having a situation where we ran out of time to finish the race because they'd stopped and started so much. And then
which honestly, hallelujah to that, because who needed more laps of Monaco? Who needed more laps of Monaco?
Oh my God.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
But no, I was so confused because honestly, these people could never Fuji 2007. They could never, because what is going on here? Like, I swear since Lando Norris crashed in Spa in that qualifying lap, they're afraid of right now. Like they literally any opportunity, they're like, it's too wet. Like, what is the point of wet tires? Which I think is what someone tweeted.
Yeah.
What is the point?
You're right with Spa, and I guess one thing is though, like with Spa, maybe it was too wet for them to go out in, but then you take that decision to stop. They didn't take the decision to stop qualifying, and then look what happened. You learn from that, but look, it was spitting when they paused that race. And there can't have been so much standing water that it was impossible to race. I don't think that while there were puddles, there wasn't like aquaplaning style levels of
exactly. It's
water.
not that type of track. No. That we were never in danger of that.
Exactly, right.
That was never gonna be an issue. Like, we could have started that race and it would have been so much more interesting. Exactly. I don't know if you saw the tire choices that they had chosen right before. And I saw something from Mattia Binotto saying that Red Bull actually didn't have their tires on like 5 minutes to the race, like when the race was originally supposed to start. So make of that what you want.
Well, look, there's a few things that we can probably discuss with regards to Red Bull and the FIA, but for me, let's go racing when we can. Okay, if you need to stop the race because it's visibility is so poor or it's too wet, fine, stop the race. But at a track, the race is starting. Yeah, at a track like Monaco, I think I tweeted out like, rain is the only thing that makes Monaco worthwhile. And we had it at the most perfect time. And then they said, you know what? Actually, don't worry, babes, chill. Make sure you've got the right tires. Make sure you're fully prepared. Charles can go and look at his little iPad and look at all the wet weather maps.
It was those perfect conditions where like nobody's sure what tires to be on. Like it's the perfect amount of rain. Yeah. It's like too much rain and then everybody knows to be on the wet.
Yeah, exactly. We would have had
some, medium rain, everybody knows, but like it was the perfect amount where like, and there was like a time crunch to make the decision. Yeah. But like that's what the sport is about, like being able to like adjust as you go along, and like whoever's making the best decisions is winning the race, as we saw yesterday with the winner and the number 2 in the race. Yes. Like you have to make the best decision as the time comes, and if you don't, you suffer the consequences. I don't understand why the race director will be pandering and be waiting for everybody to make the right decision. It makes absolutely no sense.
It's weird because, these race directors were brought in and it was supposed to be like, we're going to follow the rules down to a T. We're going to be super decisive, this, that, and the other. And, what we had yesterday was a bit of indecisiveness, to be honest. But then I'm hearing rumors that the start procedure light was broken or whatever, and it's just like, it sounds like excuses. Like,
sounds like excuses.
You were pissed.
Because everything was working for F2, and it's not like anything crazy happened in that race. A couple safety cars, usual for F2. I just think they're trying to cover their asses because they already know, there's a spotlight on them to make the right decision. And this whole 2 race director shenanigans is not helping anything. It is not why you having 2 different race directors, because that means 2 different choices, 2 different ways of interpreting the rules. And that was already the problem with, I think, the current stewarding system we have, is that there's different stewards at every race. So different ways of interpreting different offenses. And they go and do the same thing with the race. Honestly, the sport is a mess. And
It's an absolute mess.
If it wasn't for Lewis.
Well, we look at
moving into the race proper, I guess.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry, were you gonna say
something? No, I was just saying that you look at again, I think of it from like new fans joining in and just witnessing that absolute shit show at the beginning, and hopefully some of them weren't there for Spa, but it's just, what are we doing here? Like, are we here to go racing, or are we here to have a procession? And are we supposed to be having the 20 best drivers on the grid who are supposed to be able to battle
18, maybe 17.
17, but are we supposed to allow these guys to show their skills and to show that they can go around this very challenging circuit in changeable conditions? Can the teams work together to make sure that their driver is best equipped for these changeable conditions? And what we get is them forcing a procession on me for 2 hours. And I'm just like, yeah, thank God for Carlos Sainz and his strategy, to be honest, because...
thank God for him, because it's not even the team. Like, as we will get into later, like, it was all him. But getting to the race, before the race even started, Latifi pulled a Latifi. I don't think there's much to say about that. Latifi and I think Vettel both I think it was on their lonesome.
Was it Stroll? Yeah, it was a Stroll. I'm very sensitive about going a Vettel after.
Hey, this is the wrong place for you.
Hey, I was still
Vettel fans.
Still recovering.
Okay.
No, big up all the Vettel fans. You're great. You're great fans.
Nah.
Love you.
They already know we have a guest person on. I've never said a good thing about Vettel on this podcast in my life. But no, Latifi pulled a Latifi. And it was Stroll, actually. Now I remember, because they had to pit at the end of lap 1. I remember this. But to be honest, nothing much really happened in the beginning of the race. I guess people were stuck behind people. Gasly, obviously, though, did go for he pitted for Inters immediately.
Yeah.
And that was a good trip. Like, honestly, I don't remember what happened.
Yeah. With Gasly. I think I tweeted out, thank God for Gasly at one point, because if it wasn't for him basically coming through the field, again, we were into procession, it was one by one through that circuit. But it was interesting because Gasly and AlphaTauri obviously made that decision pretty early, and then it was very clear that was the way to go
with the right decision
at that point. But it was obvious to me, it was like, either you do it straight away, or you're going to have to wait to go on to dries. That was. And
Roy and I usually wait to discuss Mercedes till the end, so I will go to other people and the nonsense. But what exactly went down with Ferrari? Like, I was so confused. Like, they were all of a sudden just from P1 to P, and then it was like carnage was ongoing.
Yeah.
At the pit stops, in their race wall, whatever.
Do you know what
they reminded me of Ferrari of old?
Yeah. It was for
one. Give me flashbacks.
Yeah, I was getting. But this is the thing. Ferrari, they've always had this in them. Like they are, for want of a better word, scatty as fuck. And for me, I think that they thought they did not believe Carlos Sainz when he said we have to go on to dries here. They didn't believe him. So they brought Leclerc in on intermediates because obviously they had to cover off other people. But it got proven pretty soon after that.
Straight away.
that he had to go straight to dries. And then they do that.
I think Leclerc was only out on those inters for 2 laps, maybe 3.
And then they brought him in
pretty
again.
Immediately.
Yeah.
It was obvious that dries were the right choice. For me, even before that, it was obvious. That dries were the right choice. But obviously, as they always say, it's easy when you're watching from behind the screen and there's no adrenaline or pressure. But I'm for me, honestly, I understand maybe a little in defense of Ferrari why they decided to make that choice with Charles, because he's leading the race pretty comfortably, and you don't want to gamble, do the wrong thing, bottle the race win, and then end up suffering.
Yeah.
And the people they were in competition against have done this exact thing. And honestly, we saw Mercedes do this a lot when they had a dominant car. They would never risk anything. Like,
yeah,
as long as the people behind, like right behind them, so Ferrari or Red Bull, were going on this strategy, whether that was the right strategy, the wrong strategy, Mercedes never put any thought in it. James' consonants will just go exactly the same way that their rivals are going and just stay safe. And I think it's understandable when you're the one in the lead.
Yes, I mean, look at Lando in Russia last year. You know how McLaren kind of bottled a decision to. No, why not?
So I can't think of that race without laughing.
You're making me.
But yeah, Lando, Russia.
So we'll see.
Okay.
We have seen
Lando, Russia.
When a team is out front, they find laughing.
I've stopped laughing. You're the one who's
Okay. That a team might be reticent to bring their car in from the lead and to do a daring strategy, right? When you want to hold on to what you've got rather than risk what you've got. So it's understandable, but for me, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they didn't. I think in Charles's case, if they bring him in and then put him on slicks and then he puts it in the wall, then then what?
But at least then that's on him and he knows that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you don't manage to keep it on track as a driver, I think no matter maybe your team has put you on the strategy or whatever, it will always be like 60-70% your fault.
Yeah.
And at least then he wouldn't be there shouting on them and giving them dirty looks.
Yeah, I think
on the radio. Obviously, my thing was, why did they then decide to put him on the same lap?
Yeah, the double stack. And the fact that they told him
that did not make any sense. That made zero sense to me.
They told him to come in.
Because I think he would have been able to keep his position if he had just pit on the next lap. Or at least been 2 or 3. But he ended up just
well, the overcut was very powerful. And every year we go to Monaco and people forget that it's not undercut, it's overcut. But
okay, I have this problem, and we might as well talk about Mercedes now because they did not learn their lesson from last year with the overcut. They tried the undercut last year and Lewis got fucked and got overtaken by 2 people. I think Vettel and one other person after being stuck. And then this year, they did the exact same thing. They pit before Alonso. I'm like, if you're gonna do that, then at least gamble on strategy.
Yeah.
There is no reason why they should have pit for Inters. It made no logical sense to me.
It was no man's land. They didn't do, and this is what they do all the time. It's they get stuck between a rock and a hard place, and then they just don't do anything, and they are paralyzed. I think by too much information, and they're looking at computer screens. These men are computer man, looking at a computer. Sometimes you got to bring your head up. You got to look around. You got to see what's around you, take in your surroundings, and realize, okay, either we're gonna.
For me, I already knew that race was gonna go to shit strategy wise. The moment before the race, the day before, they were like, "Oh, this is gonna be a race of strategy." Then the day of the race, when it started raining, Toto was kind of I don't know which, he did a thing where he was like, "Oh, yeah, they don't know what they're gonna do strategy wise," and I was like, "Oh, okay.
Well, that's
Consonant's gonna screw it."
Yeah.
And then before the race, you had Lewis on the radio calming them down. I was like,
man.
"Oh, really?" So y'all need this is now his job too. And I talk a lot on this podcast about how Lewis is operating seven different jobs at this moment, 7 different jobs in this team, and now you need him to be your therapist. Why is he the one telling you to calm down? Bro, y'all should already be the one just tell him, don't worry, look. And I don't want to be forward to say this, but clearly he has no confidence in them and their ability to act under pressure.
I don't think he does.
Because they should be the ones telling him, Lewis, calm down, we have this under control. Even if you don't, You have to project a semblance of control, or else everything's gonna go to shit. Which, no surprises, it did.
It did. And look, we had Toto.
Out of nowhere.
We had Toto partying on Paddock Club for a bit before the race. This guy probably had a couple glasses of champagne, showing the babes around.
He was just there vibing.
Oh, we're in Monaco.
I'm like,
baby.
go be with Susie.
Bro, I was looking on that balcony. I was like, where's Susie, bro?
Yeah.
Where's your wife?
Is that Susie probably in the garage talking to Lewis? Meanwhile, he's up there with BBL baddies.
Right. I mean, look, I don't blame him. Me too. I like some BBL baddies. Okay, I'm not averse to it. Okay?
You're not married to Susie,
I'm not
though.
married to, well, this is true. This is very true. But for me, look, Mercedes-Benz. Just going back to Ferrari, and I guess back to Mercedes and Ferrari. That incident where they called him into the pits and then told him to stay out again, very reminiscent of the Bono come in and in like
and then yeah. I'm pretty sure wasn't that Germany 2018?
It was Germany 2018.
Yeah, when Seb lap 52 lap 52.
Oh man! Oh look, he has not been the same since that day, and
he ain't never recovered.
His soul left his body that day, as well as
it's so joyful to see.
No, it's gorgeous. But
because, and I've said this before again, pre that, this man used to be a twat when he was winning, and now it's how he is sweeping the roads and picking up trash. I think we'll forget his previous personality. I have not forgotten.
I'm not gonna lie,
I have not forgotten.
Picking up rubbish ain't even that big a deal, bro. Like, what? Like, why am I supposed to be impressed by a man picking up litter? Like, I'm sorry. You're still bad in the car. Just because you think like doing it. I recycle all the time.
You're still bad at your main occupation.
I can't come into my job and not perform and then be like, well, I'd be like,
I reuse, reduce, recycle.
I mean, I made the teas the other day, so surely that means I'm a good team member. No one cares. So Mercedes, rock and a hard place. They should have either pitted as soon as Gasly did, and they saw that the pace on the intermediates were great, and then do that.
For me, if they were gonna pit on Inters, do it super early.
Yeah, do it super early. But then they waited. The track is pretty much dry. They pit him then, and then he comes out behind Ocon, right? So he comes up
and then he was doing lap times, caught up to Ocon, and then was stuck because Monaco.
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
Time and time again, look at George Russell. Like that overcut worked so well for him.
Yeah,
it worked so well for him, which goes into my what witch doctor does George Russell visit? Because we need to analyze. We need to know where he's paying for the juge, which virgins is he sacrificing, how many is required a month.
Yeah.
Because this man is lucky just time and time again.
I said to a friend the other day, I was like, if this was medieval times, we'd be burning George at the stake. Because this guy's a witch. You'd be
like, no, suspicions of witches. If he's, or you drown him, and if he survives, he's a witch. If he doesn't survive, then he was innocent, but sorry, he's gone.
100%. Because I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what's going on.
Like I posted on my Instagram, and someone was like, "Who's George?" I was like, "Luckiest fucker in existence."
Do you know what I mean? This guy.
It makes no logical sense.
And he's so nice about it as well. That's what's annoying. Like I want to hate him, but he's so respectful and nice about it.
I don't like him, but like I don't have the blood to hate him again. Like I start like even before I never liked George, but like once he did that shit to Bottas at Imola, I was like, I hate this man. I hate this man. But he's so good at his public relations job that I'm just like,
it's worked. It's worked on me. You know what? Sometimes.
Yeah, I noticed how you just slowly got converted. I was like, bruh, I thought we were in this together.
No, I got. You know what? Yes.
But you know what?
I'll just say
what I'm starting to see is that like maybe Valtteri wasn't that bad. And maybe Mercedes can just only focus on one driver. Like maybe they can only put all their attention on one driver. Like,
you know what though? It's actually mad because remember all the times like last year when Bottas would be like, I think we should do a 2-stop. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And then he'd come at the end of the race like, I told you we should have done that 2-stop. And he used to get done over by strategy and the pit stops as well.
Yeah, exactly. Bottas always got done over by strategy, and we would just be like, if he wanted, he should have just outqualified Lewis, which obviously is a damn near impossible task.
Yeah.
That George is somehow lucky, I guess. This weekend was definitely luck, like with the qualifying, because Lewis was consistently like a couple tenths ahead of him.
Yeah.
And then obviously got done over by
the
man like Perez, who obviously knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah,
because he has somehow got to this. No, okay. Talk about red flag. That red flag in quali. What happens is like, how Sainz, are you blind?
Bro.
Like,
bro. The waves yellow.
And then he got upset about how it's like him. He's like, and I'm like, reminds me of Sebastian and Albon used to do this thing in 2020, both of them, where they would spin on their own and then they'll be like, someone spun me.
Yeah.
I remember Albon did it at like Imola 2020 safety car restart. He spun on his own and then he went on the radio, Sainz spun me. I was like, dude, we could clearly see like nobody touched you. You've gone to the back all on your own. Like in a 13 car race, you have somehow finished 13. This is you. It's not you. It's not you.
Yeah.
Like, don't blame Sainz.
You know what it is though? Sometimes you do something wrong, yeah, but to deflect attention, you'll just start raging at everyone else. So sometimes
it's K-Mag from last week all over again. This man, he was willing to die on that hill. You know, he was willing to die. Which obviously is Georgia Imola last year, 2021, where he was just so upset. When he went and he pushed, I was like,
no, imagine that, bro.
I was like, that's white privilege. That's white privilege right there and then. Because the audacity.
Could have killed a man. And then you're giving him the finger.
And then after the race, like he reiterated, he was like, no, he's just scared of me because he knows I'm coming for that. So I was like,
George, the entitlement jumped out that day, didn't it? Carlos really just wanted to deflect from what would have been another incident where he's messed up. And he just started railing about everything else other than the fact that he went through yellow flags, saw that there was going to be an accident and spun. So yeah.
But like, I don't really like Carlos, to be honest, because
why not?
Racist.
Oh yeah, of course.
Racist.
Yeah,
exactly. And like he's like, oh yeah, that's expected. Yeah, just like that's expected. I don't really like him like that, but I'm glad he was able to like make that strategy work.
Yes.
Because he had been on a run of stupid decisions on his part. And then for me, it's the commentators going, Sainz just needs a bit of luck. He's been so unlucky. And I'm like, yeah. But Lewis has 2 races and he's washed. But everybody else just needs luck. And I said they said the same about Gasly as well on commentary. They were like, he just needs a bit of luck.
Well, it's incredible.
So everybody needs luck except Lewis. Yeah, he just needs to magic the results out of the air.
Well, look, if you ask Nico Rosberg, then they're not even doing alternate setups on the car. We're all being lied to. Nico Rosberg knows. Of course.
Nico Rosberg's like, Toto is gaslighting you. I am the one who is right. Me, who has not been affiliated with the team since 2017. I know the inner workings. I know what is currently going on. And I'm telling you, Lewis is a loser.
Toto even come out and said that it was Nico that was the toxic one. It weren't even Hamilton. They don't even like him.
Everybody knows. And I try my best to defend Nico from that 2016 year sometimes because I'm like, obviously one person just can't be follow up on their own. And I'm sure. And we know Lewis can be a little bit cock. And back then, Lewis was in his very much light-skinned boy era. So I know he done this stuff behind the scenes to piss off Nico.
That's when Lewis started to blossom
everything
a little bit.
Since Nico, exactly, that is. By 2018, he had fully sprung. That was when he shed that dirty ass haircut. Oh my God, that light-skinned boy haircut he had was not.
He was still getting used to the hair transplant and the freedom.
The freedom. I think when he got that freedom, when he went to Mercedes, he was like, okay, yes.
Yeah.
And then he just went full on light skin boy. I was no.
When was the
sorry. Can we go back to the receding hairline?
Yeah. When was the blonde hair? That was like what? That was after.
That's
2017. No? Yeah, 2017. So
2017.
Yeah, 2018. When he
that was when he started doing his fashion thing. He was like, I'm gonna go blonde. I'm like, no, take it back. No. Reverse, rewind. But no, Nico Rosberg. fucking piece of shit. Like, he's a twat. Like, the way he's now, he wants to die on the hill of that elevator ride that they had, and he's making it seem like the elevator was stuck and they were together for like 2 hours.
Bro, they didn't even talk in that elevator.
Seconds, and he's like, yeah, I saw Nico today. You know, I was taking my kids to the swimming. Yes, okay, you saw Lewis for like, what, 5-10 seconds?
Lewis hates you, bro.
He probably had his headphones in.
Yeah.
Angela was probably there.
Yeah.
So why are you acting like y'all were divulging secrets to each other in the elevator?
Bro, you saw how Lewis blanked him when he done the grid walk. Well, Lewis don't give a fuck about Nico, bro. Honestly.
Like, that's my thing with Nico Rosberg, yeah. Like, why have you not moved on? Your entire, I think with him and Jenson Button, obviously, the entire identity revolves around beating Lewis.
Yeah.
And luckily for Nico, the year he beat Lewis is the World Championship year. But for Jenson, it's 2 different years. So now, like, him beating Lewis has overtaken his World Championship. Yeah. Because I swear he talks about that more than, like, winning 2009. Obviously, he knows it's because luckiest World Drivers Champion in history. Well, obviously, before this one came along, but yeah, this one is an error situation.
Between him and Nico, to be honest, absolutely incredible luck to get the championships. But Jenson, the funniest thing is, like, he has a whole world championship, but it's like Sky bring out like the only person to beat Lewis on points over the course.
Over three seasons. I'm like, if you have to gather points over 3 seasons, like,
that's not how this sport works. There's no aggregate scores, okay? It's 1 season and done.
This is not Champions League 2 leg aggregate.
And I'm pretty sure I swear it's 2-1 to Lewis in seasons anyway.
It's 2-1. It's 2-1 to Lewis. Because of like the 2011 bad luck, obviously, it's like, guess points total over 3. That thing has never made sense to me. Like, the first time I ever heard them say, because obviously JB only started doing the Sky Sports thing like 2-3 years ago, when they said it, I was like, what kind of odd stat is that? Like, I've never heard this stat before.
No,
like,
this is like the whole top 5 finishes with George thing. I never knew finishing in the top 5 was such a big deal. Oh my god.
Or like
they compared him to Banjo
with Shah at the beginning of the season, where he was like led every session, like 6 sessions in a row. They were like FP1, FP2. I was like, when has this or that top 2 thing with Verstappen?
Yeah.
Literally, they would dig out any stat just to like Lewis, like, because all the official real stats, like, it's Sir Lewis.
Yeah, of course.
So at this point, like, Sky reminds me of like CNN breaking news. They like to manufacture drama just to make it seem like something is happening.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
okay,
the anticipation. I'm like,
they are taking the piss. They're absolutely taking the piss. And yeah, I'm not here for it. But at least we can see. But you know, they're brainwashing people. That's what they do, and they brainwash people, and then those people come on Twitter and start arguing with us and start pushing these stats back at us, and it's like, bro, like,
how is this a stat? Like, Twitter, is just, it's a social experiment,
Oh yeah,
like, it's a social experiment, because when I see some things that people say, I'm like today, like, obviously, I don't know if you've obviously been at work, but like today, someone's come on Twitter and is like, oh my God, Red Bull, this, something about how they've suffered this decision. Okay, no, look at it. It's like, it's possible Red Bull told Albon to do this shenanigans prior to the race. They knew at some point Leclerc would have to catch Albon. Not hard to figure out. I was like, not you making sense now that the tomfoolery is happening to your driver. Like, were we not telling y'all shit was hard? Like, and then this guy had the audacity when I told him, he was like, oh, he's being attacked for presenting new ideas. I was like, new ideas? We've been saying this for over a year. And I said, he goes, should have never doubted you lot. Something fishy about that team.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So for a whole year, and this is someone I get along with. I'm like, for a whole year, I've been telling you Red Bull is fishy.
You know what, though?
And it's today you're telling me that, Tifosi deserves to suffer.
You know what, though?
If Max wasn't their opponent, I would be so behind Red Bull, but it's Max. So.
You know what it's like? Yeah. You know when you tell white people about, like, bad things that happen to you as a bad person, and they're listening, they're hearing, but they're not listening. Like, it's going in, like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened.
Especially like with like something not obvious, like profiling, when you tell them that, oh, when you go to a store or something, store people following you.
Yeah. And then
when they see that, wow, how do you live with this?
Yeah. Oh, my friend got stopped by the police the other day whilst I was in there, and oh my God, the experience that I had.
Imagine?
Now you've seen it. Now you understand. Really? Oh, it happened to you. Now you can empathize, prick. So yeah.
Or is when men say things like, "Now that I have a daughter, I say if I slap you."
God.
If I hate that phrase so much.
Imagine if it was your daughter.
Imagine if it was your daughter. I'm like, do you need to give birth to a whole ass child with a badge for you to know that sexual abuse is bad? Like
that's
why is it taking this?
That's what Ferrari fans are doing right now. Leclerc is their daughter.
They're like, wow, can you imagine? And honestly, yeah, I feel like obviously we Lewis fans, we manifested this on them because we told them like when Abu Dhabi was happening and everybody was silent, we're like, okay, it's gonna happen to you. And this is like one race and they're already freaking out so bad. I'm like,
imagine, remember in Qatar where Gasly was in front of Verstappen and then he just went wide.
Literally, someone tweeted was like, "This is exactly like, don't Qatar happen and y'all were just blind,
right? Like, blind. No one cares until it happens to them."
Remember Jeddah when Massey waited for Lewis to pit and then was like, "Oh, red flag."
Right.
Which obviously we're gonna talk about that happened again yesterday.
Yeah.
If you know it's a red flag, what are you waiting for?
Honestly, I to be fair though, I was like, they've got to red flag it because the car just looked in pieces. And normally when you see something like that,
For me, it's not even the car. The marshals are just working on it while cars are still going
round. And
with drivers like Latifi, that's not safe anymore. Like before, you could say, okay, under safety car conditions, nobody's gonna hit a marshal.
And wasn't the whole point of wasn't the whole point of one of the protests about Abu Dhabi was that there were still marshals on track when they were bringing the safety car in. So
when they brought in the safety car, there was still marshals on track.
If we're acknowledging the fact that marshals being on track during the safety car period is important, I just don't understand how the cars were allowed to go that close to the marshals. Obviously, look, those Monaco marshals are incredible. They cleared that car.
Best marshals of the year.
With the quickness, I could not believe it. But
no, they're always like that. Best marshals of the year, to be honest.
But they that wall was always going to need repairing. Like if you knew that the car was going to be cleared, and then the wall would need repairing, just call the freaking red flag.
Exactly. And I think obviously Brundle and Crofty, when they realized there wasn't going to be a red flag, they tried to justify it. And then they were like, oh, of course there's not going to be a red flag because after what happened in Jeddah, they fixed the thing and now it's an easy. Yeah. And then when they brought the red flag, they were like, of course they need a red. I'm like, yo, man, these people are out here embarrassing you.
Pit riding is insane. Insane. FIA.
I'm like, like no. Like I saw, like I don't know. Do you watch the grid walk? Because I don't anymore.
You know what?
Last week's was the first one I caught in like a year, and then it just ended up being Lord. Not last week. The Miami one.
The Miami one was. It was like the Texas one on steroids. It was awful. It was awful. I did watch a grid walk. The problem is, devil's advocate. They need to brief celebrities about basically, and they need to say, as part of the package that we have for our viewers, that's
on the teams, because the teams bring
exactly. But maybe the FIA and Formula One and the teams need to sit down.
I think maybe FI Formula One brief the teams.
Or Formula One brief,
and then the teams brief whatever to say, like, celebrities they're bringing.
You might be questioned. For me, you might be questioned, whatever. But if someone doesn't get that information, if I'm just at a race, I don't know anything about Formula One. Someone's invited me. My PR told me, come here, it'll be good, whatever. Some old white man comes up with a microphone in my face and is like, oh, my brother from Sky.
Who probably doesn't know my name and has confused me with someone of a similar coloring.
Exactly.
Like, let's be honest. Like, okay, and for me, it's not that like, okay, they expect these celebrities to speak. I think that's ludicrous, but that's a fine expectation. As you say, devil's advocate, that's a fine expectation. But for me, it's that they only get pit staff are the black and brown skinned women who don't speak.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of white men that I've been watching Formula One for years.
Oh,
Flat out, the most famous ones. They ignore Martin Brundle. They ignore him.
It's not a new phenomenon.
His ego is not bruised. His ego is never bruised until if it's Serena, if it's Venus, if it's Meg, and now Simone. Like, why is your...
He just needs to take no for an answer and move on, but he makes it worse. He makes it so much worse. And it's like, Martin.
And I think whoever's doing like the production for him and like talks in his ear about who the people are needs to do a better job.
Oh, whoever is in his ear is making him look like a fucking idiot. Yeah.
Exactly.
They're absolutely
he's confusing Serena and Venus every single time they're both at a race, by the way. Like every single race where they both come, he confuses them.
Yeah, that basketball player he confused for Patrick Mahomes. Who was it?
I think that Patrick Mahomes mistake one was the most awkward because he kept going Patrick. And then when the guy he realized when he was speaking to someone and he was like, I don't know who you are. Who are you?
I'm a TikTok sensation. Oh, okay. And it's just like, but it's
disrespect. It's so disrespectful. I think he just needs to stick to the commentary box and the track side.
Give that job to someone. He even said, I don't like doing it. Give that job to someone. You know, it was very interesting that he didn't do the grid walk in Spain, but he's doing it for, was he even in Spain actually? But he's doing it for Monaco, you know, and I said this on Twitter, like, Monaco, people love Monaco for the glitz and glamour and celebrities, and you know, and it's all part and parcel of it. They love them celebrities, the white celebrities that go there. But you know, when the people saw, and those celebrities know nothing about Formula One. Let's just make that clear. But when it's people like DJ Khaled and you know the Serena sisters and the Williams sisters and all of those other people, that's when they have a problem, and you can see why that problem is. It's not because it's not about celebrities. It's about their perception of who those celebrities are. Yeah, because you know they're blackety black. You know, and at the end of the day,
so they're blackety black.
At the end of the day, you know. That's something we have to fight against in the sport the whole time. You know, we're always fighting against the perception of black people. And I think in
also just give that job to like a young.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
vibey person.
Yeah. Give that job to Tandy or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just let everyone put down
like, literally
someone like that. Just
find like they did that thing where they did the Pirelli competition for someone to come commentate alongside. During I think it was testing, maybe
testing.
They did that, and someone came and commented. They should do something like that. People sending clips of like interviewing family members or something, and do a and get someone fresh, get someone young. That is not a job that needs to be
Martin
Brundle and his aging body. No, because he's so even with the team members who already know him and he knows and they have a report, it's so awkward.
Yeah.
It's so awkward because he's there like chasing people. It's like, oh, maybe we can get with Christian. Okay, not Christian because he's horny for the microphone. Yeah. It's like Gunther Mattia. He's like chasing people up and down the
he was interviewing Alan Prost, 4-time World Drivers Champion, legend of the sport. And then he goes, actually, sorry, I've got to, George, no, how are you leaving Prost for PR63, bro? For one
honestly, I fucking love Alan Prost, by the way. I'm just going to say Prost over Senna.
You know what, though? Yes.
You know it's true. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm always spreading Prost prop. Don't worry about it. Okay, what else happened in the race? Actually, an interesting thing that did happen was Max ending up behind his teammate. And I was curious to see, obviously, how they would make it swap, but obviously they were unable.
Yeah, they couldn't because there was a car between them.
I was curious to see, but obviously, like, someone was like, oh, they're going to pit Max first. But obviously, in this scenario, even if they did, the strategy wouldn't have worked anyways. And yeah, so Perez jumped, I guess, Sainz. I don't actually remember Perez's strategy. I just somehow saw him in the lead.
Perez went straight to dries.
Did he as well?
Did Verstappen?
Oh, and then he was gaining like 5 seconds a lap or something ludicrous like that on Science.
Yeah,
yes, I remember.
He did it after Science because Science came out behind someone as well, and then his warm up on his tires wasn't good. So
Were awful.
yeah, so he lost out on the undercut overcut, and I think essentially because of the time Leclerc spent in the pits, he ended up falling from essentially. I don't know if he was even in first at that point. I think he was third, but then he fell from third to fourth. So they really messed up his strategy, man. If he'd just stayed on inters and then the race went to red flag, he could have changed his tires in the pits as well. That's the mad thing.
Yes.
It was they really messed up his strategy,
man. But it was a good job for like on thingy on Perez to get that.
Let me tell you now. Red Bull.
I don't like Perez, but
I don't like Red Bull. I've got a soft spot for Checo, but Red Bull are the best team in Formula One at the moment. Like Mark Admin could steal as many of our memes as he wants. Like it doesn't. I'm not talking about social media. I'm talking about
I think right now, like combination of strategy, pit stops, everything that requires having a successful race weekend. They have the mixture right. So like it's possible maybe Ferrari sometimes has a better car, which I would argue not. I think Red Bull currently have the fastest car in most conditions. But they have the perfect like combo and mix of everything just working. Their pit stops out. They had like a 2.3 second pit stop this weekend, which like with these new tires is like just amazing. And like if they weren't Red Bull. It's just all I have to say because.
But that's the level that Mercedes have to try and reach. But I think the 7 or 8 titles has kind of masked areas which need improvement. And
pit stops have always been one, and strategy. Those two things have always been an issue. And I've said this even when we were like. Mercedes strategy team, James Consonant in particular, or as you like to call him, Nyasha, James AEIOU, is surviving purely on Hungary 2019 and Spain 2021.
And it's the same strategy call.
Like in my head, exactly, it was the same strategy call, and it was even not James, it was somebody else who made it the second time and was like, we have to do this, we have to do this. And they are basically surviving on those two strategies. And like in my memory, I can't even remember what other race we've made a strategic masterclass, because usually we're either like winning and super ahead or like the conditions don't fit our car. And we have a bad race, like back when we were winning.
I'm trying to think. Germany 2018, although there were team orders at the end, so in theory, Valtteri would have overtaken Lewis on fresh.
But would he have though? Because he tried immediately before the team orders came, and he wasn't able to. And then after they said, for me, I'm convinced that race Lewis would have still won. Because once Lewis got his tires warm, I don't think Valtteri would have been able to. But in theory, and they have, when it comes to team orders, they have made
for sure.
Some good choices sometimes. I remember there was a year, I don't remember, I want to say it was a Sochi race or a Baku race maybe, and like they let Lewis ahead of Valtteri to hunt someone down. And when Lewis wasn't able to, I remember just before like the last turn, like they switched places.
Hungary.
Valtteri got back his position.
It was Hungary, I can't remember which one, but Hungary.
So like I think in terms of team orders, usually they make a good choice of knowing when the two drivers need to switch places.
That's fine. But a lot of the time the strategy works when they do strategy calls, because Lewis Hamilton is able to drive around it. Monaco 2019, for example. So, or 20, I
rewatched that race this weekend, and I was like, how is it? Because it happened on like lap 17, maybe. And I'm like, how on lap 17 at Monaco, where you obviously know everybody's going to try one stop because overtaking is not a thing, are you putting somebody on medium time? Like, how did your brain even go there? Like, what exactly how did he come to that logical conclusion? Like, there's sometimes like on a wet race or like mostly like when it's changing strategy. Like last year, Hungary. Why? Like obviously you like where he started alone. Like I understood their choices where they were like, oh, obviously they were in the lead and like someone could have stayed out after seeing them go in. But I'm like, with the pace you had, you would have lost less time and you would have easily won that race.
Yeah, and I mean, between Lewis and the pit wall, there is a fundamental lack of trust, and I think.
And it goes one way. Like Lewis doesn't trust the pit wall.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the pit wall will pretty much give Lewis any strategy and hope and pray that he does it. Because they know it is well within his abilities to do most things. Well, and that was working fine when the car was
good.
The fastest or the second fastest in like 2018, 17 and last year. But now that the car is like what? On a best day third, but mostly like fourth. Fastest, to be honest.
Yes,
because that Alfa Romeo, when it gets its shit together, is speedy, and over race pace, the Alpine is super fast. And Norris,
yeah. No. Do you not Daniel Ricciardo? No?
Don't get me started. That man needs to retire. Actually, talk about Daniel Ricciardo. We can move on to McLaren and the weekend they had. How did you rate Norris's performance? Because he was kind of no man's land for a bit.
Yeah.
For most of it.
Look, I think he's still under the weather. He's got the complexion of a bad cup of tea at the moment. He looks like death is knocking violently on his door.
Literally what I said last week. I literally said this. Death is knocking on your door. Right. Yes, you're still beating your teammate.
And he's still being. And look, really solid race. I think George managed to get ahead of him in the pit stops. Well done. But Lando Norris is again. Look, they're starting to talk about Ricciardo now, and it's long overdue.
Now that they're saying the quiet parts out loud, and that's when you know.
People are making articles saying he's going to retire at the end of this season. I think he's going to retire. I watched the GQ video of him. It was GQ. Is it things I can't live without? Oh no, he was answering questions, and it's like, I don't like Daniel Ricciardo talking about retiring. He's like, oh, it's nice to read messages like this. I love the sport. And so obviously, it makes me think more about it. But it's nice. And I was like, wow, it's not even like you're saying, I'm definitely not going to retire. That's bullshit. Yeah. Don't worry. Like the spark has gone.
I don't think he lasts this season. I think
he's going to replace him midway.
If he doesn't get it together, I think winter break. Especially if their choice is like an IndyCar driver, they need to do it. Not winter break, sorry, summer break.
Yeah.
Especially if they're trying to put in an IndyCar driver, they need to give him the latter half of the season to get used to driving a Formula One car and then start fresh next year. But if they're trying to put another F1 driver, then they wait till the end of the year. But if they're trying to put an IndyCar driver, and honestly, McLaren haven't been ruthless enough the last couple of years, but we're starting to see like the McLaren we remember from when Lewis was
but the thing is, what Zach Brown said wasn't even that bad. It was very matter of fact.
Like, people were writing at like think pieces, and I was like, at this point, Ricciardo already knows he's shit. Yeah, like this man is already building his retirement home in Texas. There's no way like he doesn't have his like he already has his like manager probably sniffing and checking for like
his
next career opportunity. Like there's no way he thinks this is his long-term plan anymore.
He's going to America and he's going to build his brand in America. NASCAR, IndyCar, whatever second grade.
Because NASCAR is the kind of place where like he doesn't have to win to have the hype. Like I think Daniel Ricciardo has the energy for NASCAR as well. Like the just absolutely wild, crazy behavior, Republican redneck energy. Like I think
no one reads the news in NASCAR. He'll fit in really well.
Exactly. Or when they read news, they read the fake one.
Yeah.
But no, I think NASCAR is perfect for Daniel Ricciardo. I think his performance this weekend was lackluster, to say the least. Embarrassing, to say the most.
it's a real shame. Like
At least his helmet this week didn't say we run these streets, because I was gonna choke myself if it did.
Well, anything he's running is away from a fight with Lando, to be honest. That's the only thing he's running.
But no, okay, so like I don't like Lando Norris as a person, but I think he's shown himself to be consistently beating Daniel Ricciardo and maybe having like 2 bad weekends for every like 7 races, which I think isn't okay. And even in the bad weekends, he somehow manages to still beat Daniel Ricciardo. So obviously a lot of that has to do with Daniel Ricciardo's incompetence, but at the end of the day, as a racing driver, you can only beat your teammate. Like everybody else is a bonus.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think he's great. I think he's probably just under George and Charles when I'm talking about the top drivers after Max and Lewis. And yeah, I think he's doing a great job. It'll be interesting. I think if the IndyCar driver comes in next season, he's going to handsomely beat them as well. So
yeah, but if they bring, it will be interesting for me. I would really like to see him against another Formula One driver.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good way, especially one we already know. It would be a good way to rate.
It'd be good if like
I think
if like Gasly went
him against like someone like Gasly.
I mean, look, our minds.
Great minds.
Our minds.
Yes, if Gasly went into that team, bold prediction here, but I think it would really show like
levels.
It would really show like Gasly's talent level, and I don't think, as someone who likes Gasly as a person, I don't think it's going to be favorable towards Gasly.
I don't. No, I don't at all.
I think Norris will embarrass Gasly, and people will finally understand why Red Bull had to let Gasly. And I'm a Gasly fan.
Yeah.
Like I like him, but I do think his performances are not as great as
the thing is
people make them
with
seem.
Formula One. It's all about seizing the moment and the opportunity and the momentum.
And he did, which Norris has not been able to.
Yeah, but also,
which I guess is the thing.
Well, also, it's kind of peaked. Like he had a really good last season. He had the race wins the season before, and now it's kind of going on a downward trajectory in terms of hype. And there's going to be more hyped drivers, I guess, if more people start doing well. And Yuki's out qualified in 3 times last 4 races. I know there's luck involved there, but he's got, I think, beating him in races as well. So he needs to just make sure that he beats Yuki this season, solidify that kind of those good results.
Like we all knew kind of like Yuki was gonna start coming into his own this year. Like we all knew that. Like we all knew like last year wasn't like the height of Yuki's talent. But like for me to say something, I don't think Gasly had a really good 2021 season. I think his qualifying performances were amazing. And then everything just went, downhill from there. Anyways, moving on. I was going to discuss the race direction. Did you know how Magnussen and Albon retired?
No.
Was that something you noticed when it happened?
I saw Magnussen out of the car. And I was like, hang about.
Yeah, and I was like, is this a clip from earlier? Like, I was so confused.
I was like, did he crash? I was like, is that the horse that crashed? Is he already out of the car? But no, it was, I had no clue that they had retired. I had absolutely no clue. How did they retire? I still don't know.
Monaco's race direction is awful because it was the same thing last year as well.
Yeah,
where like
the Stroll incident. They run their own. That's the thing with Monaco. They do everything themselves. So they've just got a director that he loves just cutting. He thinks. You ever seen the Truman Show? The film. He thinks he
just cuts away. He's always cutting away. Like always cutting away.
The man in the sky just.
And it gives me a headache, to be honest.
It's not great.
Anyways, Latifi still slapped Albon before Albon ended up retiring. Latifi was ahead of him, even though Latifi had done an extra pit stop. But... Yeah.
Did you see Albon got 16 blue flags?
Okay, that's what I wanted to move on to. That's Korea, yes.
16.
Like
isn't it supposed to be 3?
feel like on top of what he's earning from Williams, Red Bull have to be paying him extra. Like
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like if I
It's 3, by the way. It's
Yeah,
3.
if I go through,
and then the 4th one, you get penalized.
Yeah, like if I go through a red light as a driver, like I could get punished for that. Imagine going through like 16.
16 in a row.
Just ignoring the rules of the road for 16. Like that's ridiculous. Like I just I can't race with a nose stud, but what I can do is ignore 16 blue flags without consequence.
Let's not even get started on jewelry.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that was just really stupid. Also, Alonso, obviously, clearly, I don't even want to get into that. Obviously, Alpine were both shitting themselves because I don't know what Ocon was doing. I usually run Esteban propaganda on this podcast.
Nice. Whenever I mention it on our podcast, I just get like shouted down.
No, I'm always out here screaming like Esty Bestie.
Man, Alonso
wrecked this weekend.
Alonso's pace was.
Alonso wrecked Ocon's race, by the way. Yeah. So like I'm like convinced like this man does. I always said he never liked Ocon anyway. He was always faking it.
He doesn't.
So like we really saw it this weekend. Yeah, Ocon like went into Lewis and then was like, "Oh my god, he hit me!" Like,
I think that was you turning.
I feel like everybody always does down when they get hit.
Yeah.
Everybody when they contact like hit me. So like, I'm gonna let it go for this time. But
can I ask you a question?
Yes.
We kind of glossed over it, but what do you think is possible for Lewis and Mercedes this season?
I thought because Rowe was absent, I wouldn't have to answer that. Lewis and Mercedes.
Yeah.
So Mercedes, I think, will get P3 in the constructors. Comfortably, I think, by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe P2 if like something goes stupidly wrong along the way. Because like I don't think maybe we can expect both teams to maintain this level of consistency over the entire year. So maybe P2.
Yeah.
I think Lewis can get a race win this year.
The bar is no. I just it's so sad.
2009. So it reminds me so much of 2009. Like that is what we're getting this year because 2012 was unreliable, but at least there was pace when the car was reliable.
Yeah.
This year is just like 2009, 2011 vibes. Stupidly slow car.
Yeah.
We're unlucky as well on top of it. Like I think, and even the thinking he can get a race win, to be honest, for me, it's optimism because I don't want the streak to end. It's not like confidence in the ability of the car and the pit wall. So what do you think is possible for them?
The fact that they couldn't deal with the bumpy road this weekend is quite worrying. Baku is not the smoothest race surface. So hopefully that's not an issue, but I don't know, it's sad. I'm just a bit sad. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it feels like don't have that many. It's
depressing.
Yeah, don't have that many years of Lewis left. So the fact that I'm the same as you. Like I want him to get one win, at least. I really thought the Barcelona upgrades were the sign of something good. I think we're going to have to see after we've got Baku and then what's after Baku? France, maybe, I think.
France? Which is like my second worst track.
Although it was a good race last year, but Mercedes fucks that strategy.
Don't remind me.
Probably the race I was most pissed off about other than Abu Dhabi.
They got undercut by like 5 seconds, like 5, 6.
They kept him out for 2 laps. Like, why? Why? Just bring him in. Idiots. So they... I just think we'll see. Hopefully we'll have an idea of where the car shakes out after a few races with the upgrade package. But no, the same. I just want him to get a win. And you know what? I just want him to have like a good race with no bad luck and for him to be able to show his pace. I think like it's just been a ridiculous run of fortune with everything that's gone on.
Sorry, since Jeddah last year, like decisions of like consecutively every single race something goes wrong.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
Every single race.
It's crazy. Like I just understand what's going on. So
it's depressing. It's sad. Yeah. Anyways, before we end this, we usually do a whole star of the day, bomb of the day. So who do you think had the best performance yesterday? Or who do you think impressed you the most?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Carlos Sainz. No, actually not. I'm gonna go with Sergio Perez. No, it's only Perez.
Okay, I'll go Carlos
Yeah,
then
okay,
because
cool.
Reina usually like to do different.
Okay,
So
cool.
I'll go Carlos Sainz just because he chose his own strategy and it
Yeah,
worked for him, and he was very confident about it, and he did not back down.
yeah.
He was very much okay. Bum of the day. What do you think? Fucked it worse.
It's got to be Ferrari.
Just as a team.
Just the whole team, right?
Honestly, mine's Vettel, and I don't know why because I don't remember what he did in the race, but I'm somehow picking Vettel. Like I don't even know where he finished in the race.
Wow.
Like I'm still picking Vettel.
They're gonna clip this next time I piss them off, and they're gonna be like, "Look what they do! They don't even know anything."
Fine, it's fine. They don't. I'm not important enough for them to listen to my podcast.
No.
They have no clue what's going on here.
No, it's fine.
They have no, and I'm glad for that.
Yeah.
I'm glad for that. I will let you be the famous one. Okay. Do you have any predictions for Baku next 2 weeks?
Race prediction. I'm gonna go with Lewis Hamilton podium.
Okay, so I always say Lewis Hamilton win until he wins. So
Okay.
I have been predicting that.
Let me think of something else then.
Who do you think will be on pole?
Charles Leclerc.
Okay, no, you know what? You can take Lewis Hamilton podium. George DNF. That's my prediction.
Lord willing.
I'm manifesting it. George DNF. That's my prediction. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you to Nyasha for being with me in the episode. I will put all of Nyasha's details in the episode description, so you can find it below. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye, darlings.